Hi guys, we have 2009 BMW 528 E60, and we have some trouble with the steering wheel cluster module, and basically it's this thing behind the steering wheel here, and we have another one over there that we need to replace right there. And it's not really a crazy difficult job. I think it's a fairly easy job to do at home if you have the right tools. But in order to pop you need to get the steering wheel out and then get the plastics out. So the steering wheel, to get out, you need to pop the airbag out. I already did, but I'll show you. It's not that hard. Basically it's held by these here, these metal pins right here, and the way they move is you need to go, there's a single hole underneath. It's right here, and the hole is right here. Yeah, it's right here. And what you have to do is you get a screwdriver in there, flat screwdriver. Sometimes I've seen people using Torx, like a T25 Torx or T30. And you get in here. I did it with a flat screwdriver using the flat surface here, with the flat surface like this. And you push it in, and basically you push, when you push in here, you're going to be able to push this, the screwdriver is going to be able to push this metal frame, and you see how it moves. Both of them, this one moves in, this one moves in, so they'll move in and they'll unlock the airbag. I'll show you. You can actually see this metal pin through the hole underneath. This is the hole underneath, and you can actually see the metal pin, the white thing. It's the metal, and that's the actual metal pin. And what you do is you put it in, and you can slide this flat screwdriver. You can slide it, as you can see it goes in. And I just used my touch to kind of see, or you can use a flashlight to actually guide the screwdriver. Just get it in and push in on this metal part. If it doesn't push right away, you can just kind of, okay, so if you try to push it, you actually have to push a little bit of an angle towards the middle of the steering wheel. So the angle is like this, and you're going to be able to feel how you're pushing the actual metals, the metal pin, the metal rod, or whatever you want to call it. And it's just right here. You see, there you go. This is how you push it. You know, it'll release on all of these. If it doesn't release, just pop the airbag back in and then do it again, and just try to do it again, because sometimes one side doesn't want to release that easy. So pop it back in, then push it again, and it will release. The next step is removing the steering wheel, or actually, yeah, so this is the central bolt that holds it. This is a 60mm. I already opened it with a one of these impact guns because it's just easier, but you can do it with a hand tool. Again, this is 16mm. And you take it out and you pull carefully these connectors. That's the connectors for the clock spring right here. And we're having some trouble actually with the heating element on this steering wheel, and it seems we also have a code, DTC code, or not a DTC, but it's a code from the cluster that something's going on with this steering column cluster or module. And this is actually the the wire and plug for the heated steering wheel. This is the option right here with this button for the heating steering wheel. And when you disconnect these, you pull this out. One thing before you do it, always remember, take a picture where this notch is. It should be right here because there's another notch on the bottom part, and the notch, it needs to align, the bottom part needs to align with the top one, and it seems like a notch here. I can see a notch on the bottom one here. So I think, yeah, this is where it's supposed to be. You know, make sure you don't mix this, because you're gonna, if you don't put it right back at the same spot, you're gonna have a misalignment of the steering wheel. So you start driving, the steering wheel is gonna be either left or the right because of one tooth, you know, going left or right. You can take it, you know, if you misaligned it, you can take it back and install it again. Just you need to remember the direction, just put it in the opposite direction. I've done it before. Not many times, but I've done it before. Sometimes you just misalign it. So yeah, this is the notch, and you can actually see there's a separate line, like a flat line that it doesn't have the teeth, that actually kind of fits in the in this space here, and you can see it's also flat here too. So kind of it seems that you're not gonna be able to make a mistake anyway, but just to make sure. Very important thing before you get into the plastics here, the clock spring here is extremely important so you don't break it, and you need to be careful not to move it. Just leave it the way it is, because this thing has only about, I think, couple turns left and couple turns right of a wiring inside. And if you do something weird, you start turning this and spinning it, you have a risk of misaligning it to the central point, which is 0 right now, and then installing it back, and you turn one direction too much, you can break the wires inside the tracks. You break them. This is a $300, $400, $500 part from BMW. You have to buy the original. And okay, so the clock spring, I have the old unit outside that I can actually show you, and it's easier to see here. And the top part, so in my case this part comes out first, so it has these little plastic like holding jaws or whatever you want to call it. So this thing slips just out like this, and then you have the bottom and the top part. And I took the top part first, and before you take it off, you have these plastic clips with this plastic Phillips screw, and you just use a Phillips screwdriver and you get these bolts, and you can take these out, and then you pull this out kind of carefully, a little bit forward and up, because you can see the design of these jaws. So they make you kind of pull it or actually towards you and up, and once you disconnect it, you have the bottom part, and on the bottom part it has the same bolt right here and the same clip with the Phillips screw. Take it out, and then you take the whole thing out, and this is what it looks like here. And since we have it outside, I'm gonna show you how to do it here, because we already know what holds these. You just pull it out again, kind of carefully, with these little jaws that hold the plastics. And so what we have here is the top ones. So they're right here. You have 1 and 2, the top clips to take this top part. And remember, we need to pull it toward us and then up. So I need to get my Phillips screwdriver. So I got my screwdriver here and I'm trying to remove these screws. You got to be really careful because these are plastic and they will strip out. I've done this before, and you just have to be really careful. Yeah, this one, see, this one is trying to strip because it doesn't want to move. Okay, I switched the screwdrivers and I'm using a small one, and I kind of pushing a little bit on the plastic. Even if I screw it, I have another one there, but okay, it's coming out. Okay, good, it's out. I got lucky. I'll see if it's stripped. It's not bad. Okay, so this has to come out and you can pull this so you don't lose it. And actually this thing needs to be disconnected here, this cover, and this is what the clip looks like, and all this is plastic, and you can push your hand underneath and kind of get this clip out because you're gonna need this clip. You want to save it because those are not sure where you can find it again. So this part again, we just need to kind of release it. Yeah, I see where it's got this. Yeah, that's where the clip is, right here. So it just needs to release. Here we go. It was just pushing this bar. It was pushing on the switch. This thing here was pushing, and you do the same thing with the other side and you release it. So this is here. It's here, and it's the same procedure for down here. And I release the clip. This is the clip right here. You can push it down so you don't lose it. I always do that with these. And right here. And you need to pull this out partially. It has a piece of quoting there. Okay, I think this is fine. I don't need this to come out. This is okay. I have plenty of space because what we need to get out is the clock spring first, and then it's this unit back here. This is the actual module, the steering cluster module. That's what it is. And this is the model, or that's the model. So again, the clock spring, be careful not to move it. It's actually kind of stuck here. It won't go to the right, so yeah, just leave it here. And we need to use these four. We need to take these 4 bolts out. Looks like they're Torx T25, I believe. No, it's actually T20. Yeah, T20. So I'm gonna take this one first out because it's easier. And at least this way I know what I need to do to go inside, or I know what to do when I go inside the car. And you remove this clock spring out. So trying to pull this out, something was holding it, and then I kind of forced it a little bit, and then it kind of unhooked, and it looks like it has these clips here, and I think something broke here on the inside, because this is where this was supposed to be. So I'm not sure. I can't get in there anyway, it's too far in. So even if you force it out, it should be okay, because the whole piece is still together. It's just this one and this one here, and it looks like there may have been something here. Maybe BMW did this on purpose, so you can kind of install this one time and not actually get it out. I'm not sure. It's not my concern. Anyway, you can still install this back because you have the bolts. And the next thing is I need to see how this comes out, because all of these are on, all these switches are on this cluster, and we need this cluster here, or this whole thing. Okay, I can see two bolts here holding this whole unit to this metal plate here, and they're similar to the bolts that were holding the clock spring. Yep, everything started moving, so we know this is gonna come out. Let me see if these bolts are the same length as the other ones. Yeah, they're the same bolts, so you cannot make a mistake. You have 4 for the clock spring and 2 more holding this unit, and this unit should come out. Okay, we have the wiring underneath, so it just needs to be disconnected. Okay, what's going on here? We have this yellow one and we have this black one, so make sure this doesn't drop. So we have to press this black one in order to disconnect it. Here we go. And once you disconnect it, you just pull this whole thing out and it's out. So this is what we need. Make sure always keep in mind that this also has an alignment, and we can see here there's an arrow here, there's an arrow there. So make sure that you don't lose this alignment. This is going to be really important when you install it. And yep, this is how this goes. So next thing is we have to go inside the car and take the other one out. Okay guys, we're back inside the car, and I took the bolts for the clock spring, and I can actually see, you see here is the actual clips that we saw outside, and they were holding to these plastic ridges that I didn't see originally, so I can actually kind of open them now with a flat screwdriver. Maybe this will help us to get this out easier. Yeah, it's just that, yeah, okay, I see the top one here. Okay, here we go. So this one is locked in actually, so it's not going to give us trouble, or supposedly. And this is supposed to come out. Okay, we have a cable in the back that we need to disconnect. There's a cable here. So before you can pull the clock spring, you're gonna see this yellow cable, and this is the clip right here that you need to press to open it, because this yellow clip is actually holding the clock spring to the module. And again, since it clipped back into the little clips, use a flat screwdriver to get in right here and open or push the clip up here, and then on this side here clip is right there. Here we go. So that's the clips right here, and they're holding actually to these plastic pieces here, to these plastic flat kind of stoppers, and that's what I broke on the other piece. It's not a big deal, it's not really a guide or anything. You still have the bolt, so don't worry about it, and it still goes in here in this straight place, so it's not gonna matter anyway. So we have to get this out, and remember, we get it out with these two bolts here, the T20. And we have the plug in the back, the big plug, so yep, we have the disconnecting piece right here. I need to use a flat screwdriver. And there we go. This is it. So we get this one out. Here's the part numbers. So we're gonna get this one out, and we're going to install the new one. And okay, we're installing the other part back on. Make sure that the arrows are where they're supposed to be, pointing at each other. The small one inside and the outside, the big one. And try to install this carefully. And remember, we have the big plug in the back. The big plug goes here, right here. It's this black one. So I'm gonna have to use my two hands to install this. So kind of try to push this unit back a little bit, and so you can get the clip back in. Just push it until it clips, and then you need to remember that this one clips into the clock spring. Make sure you align the arrows again, and just kind of set it back into place. I would advise you to try to align these kind of as close as possible. Okay, so now the next thing is we need to install the T20s. And be careful because this is plastic stuff, so you don't want this to break. It seems like they're very brittle. The plastics around this housing are very brittle. So okay, we got these two, and remember we have 4 on the clock spring. The clock spring is gonna go inside here, so this is what's gonna happen in order for this to properly fit. Looks like there's these look like plugs. I think they are actually on the clock spring, but that's not our concern. We just need to make sure that we clip this yellow plug. Okay, we are going to use actually the clock spring that I got from the used steering wheel, because of the situation and the diagnostics on this problem. I don't trust the clock spring we have there, because the kind of the gateway of what these German vehicles name these is also the clock spring, because it has all these wires and connectors, because all the functions on the steering wheel transfer through the clock spring when it turns left and right, and that's why it has these tracks inside there, electrical tracks, and it transfers the whole information all the way through this unit here and then inside the vehicle. So this is the reason I chose to replace this. If you're not sure with your problem what's going on, you might want to try and yes, just kind of replace it. Okay, I'm trying to see, we have a specific pattern on these plastics here, and they go in a special way. Here, as you can see, the empty spots are where these big extensions of these plastics go, and we have one here that's a main guide. And I want to say, okay, the main guide actually the main guide of this goes into where the arrows are, because that's the only space that it doesn't have these double locks, or the middle thing that locks it up to go actually in this empty space. So whatever you see the double things right here, this whole thing is a solid space and it will go into one of these. And the only thing that doesn't have this double one is the arrow, which means this is the guide for this ridge to go in. So we just have to make sure that we align this properly. Okay, so the arrow is here, and you just kind of try to align it where the arrow is, right here. Okay, and just try to get it in as close as possible, and actually it aligns perfectly. Okay, make sure you do this, because that's the only way this would go in properly. Okay, it won't clip. Well, actually, yeah, this one will clip. No, it won't clip in the back because I broke the plastic ridges. It's okay. Remember to install the 4 T20 Torx right here. And so you can lock this thing up so it won't move. Don't force it too much. Again, it's plastics. You don't want this to break. And don't forget that you have to install the yellow plug. The yellow plug goes into this. This is where the plug is supposed to come out. So you're gonna have to find it in with touching, but it's in this direction right here. The plug actually goes at the other end of this square space, and you can just it won't go anywhere else. It'll go only in one place and then push until it clicks. And now we had this is set up, and what we have to do, we only have the 3 plastics here, then it's the steering wheel, so the bottom plastic goes first. So try to align this and push it up, and it'll go into this foam piece, and make sure it aligns here with this. Okay. Something is pressing it. I think it's this cable here. It's kind of strange the way they made it. It's just, to be held by one clip. So it may give you a little bit of trouble. I guess this is gonna be as close as it gets. actually this has to go over it. Yeah, the cruise control lever has to go inside here. So I guess I would start from the left side first and then push it up. Yep, here we go. Now it's aligning with this module here, and it's inside of this. Okay, so yeah, do it, start from the left side and then you push it up to the right. And now you have to remember, you have to install these strange clips. Okay, unfortunately I cannot show you, but this clip goes only in one way, so it goes with the, you can see on the left and right side, you cannot install this clip because it's gonna stop with the plastic, so it goes only this way where it points forward and backwards in the direction of the car, and you have to get in this specific space, so you're gonna have to go under this plastic to find, because there is a aluminum piece right here, and that's where it goes. It'll only fit right here in the middle of this, and if you cannot see it, you're gonna have to go under the car or under the steering wheel, and you're gonna have to align this perfectly. You see, right now it's aligned, and that's when you're gonna be able to install this, when it's only perfectly aligned, or otherwise it won't fit. It'll just keep moving left and right. So here we go, I got it installed, and I have the other piece of the actually I separated these two, and you can push this to a certain extent, and then you can actually screw it until it stops. And this is this clip, and this is it right here. I think I saw what's pushing the panel. It's the actual cable here on the left side, and it's pushing the foam piece. That's why it's kind of wiggling now, but once you install the other panels, it should be fine. And now we need to install the top panel. So the top panel installs. Remember, this has to go all the way down into line with this round piece. And remember, these clips here, the open clips, they have to clip into the bottom piece. I need to use my two hands, unfortunately, but it's just, this is the guide, and you have to make sure that it goes around these top plastics here. So in this case, this here has to go around this. As you can see, it's not aligned, and once you align it, it should be able to clip on the two sides. Okay, this is, yeah, it's giving me some trouble, but it's normal, it's plastics. So I started with this left side, and I got it in here, then I pressed it in. Make sure to go around this lever, because that's what's going to give you the most trouble right here, this lever. Then once it fits in, use these is the guide that you're in the right place. And then the right side, you're gonna have to hold the bottom piece and push the top one first, starting first with that back piece all the way back there. And remember these circle jaws, they actually lock, but they lock in at an angle. And the one thing that was stopping me here, I couldn't see it, but there's this plastic guide here, as you can see right there. And that guide, this plastic piece has to go in front of it, not back. In my case, it was getting stuck in the back here and wouldn't go back down. And again, this is your guide right here. This plastic, this lever here is your guide to actually go through. And yeah, make sure that this plastic goes above it. And now I'm gonna guide it and get it in. And this round piece should fit perfectly here. Yeah, I just pushed it here, holding the front part, and then I pushed this back just down, and it clipped. And as you can see, it's right in the place. Everything is here. And the last thing is the big piece right here, which is the front part. This has nothing crazy about it. It just clips straight forward. And you can just press it in. As you can see, it just clips in. Okay, it's in place. Okay, don't forget that we have the two clips right here on the top, right? These, so we have to install these two. And they have an aluminum frame underneath that actually these clips fit into. And again, these they point forward and backwards. And you just push them in. I like to get these actually separated so that I can push the bottom part all the way in. Okay, yeah, just separate them, push the bottom part in first, and then install the top part. You can sometimes get them all the way in. I think I almost got it in, but I'll just I'll check again. Yeah, it's all the way in. And same thing, since I separated this one already, I'm gonna install it back in. Okay, and then the actual screw on the top. Okay, and then check. This one is a little bit out, so I'm gonna screw it all the way in. And remember, it'll slip. I mean, it won't stop. This is plastic, so just check with your nail. Okay, it's all the way in. And check here, it's all the way in. This trim piece, it was kind of broken. That's the way this came on this car, I think, because it just has these little clips here, and it looks like the clips are broken. I'm gonna try to fit them in. Yeah, but they're broken. I don't think it's gonna fit. I don't think it'll stay. This was broken, and it's not my concern in this case or this situation. We're just trying to get what we need to get to solve the problem with the heating. Well, yeah, I have a problem with the actual heated steering wheel. But this is the actual replacement. I'm making this video so I can help somebody who is trying to replace this module here. Okay, so now the next thing is the steering wheel. And remember this notch here, you have to use it, you have to use this guide to get it in. And yep, it fits in perfectly. It's in, this line fits the left side of the notch because I think that's where the flat space is. So okay, this is fine. And then we just need to clip in, the connectors. Those are the connectors for the steering wheel buttons. Okay, we connect this, and this is the actual connector for the heated steering wheel. Okay, and then we need the bolt that holds the steering wheel. That's the 60 millimeter. And I'm gonna use an impact gun. And it's tight. And then we install the airbag. Be careful with these airbags because they're dangerous, and you have to be careful when you plug them in so they don't explode. Well, normally that shouldn't happen, but the best thing that you can do when you deal with airbags is to actually disconnect the battery, so there is no charge or anything. I'm actually going to do this in a different way. I'm not going to tape this, but I'm going to walk out of the car when I connect this, just in case. And once you connect the airbag, then it's extremely easy. Just kind of place it in place, and what you have to do is just hit it and it'll click back in, and this is it. And again, this was a 2009 BMW 528 steering column module replacement, or cluster replacement. Again, thanks for watching, and please subscribe. Hi guys, we have 2009 528i BMW, and the problem with this car is we have no horn, and the heating part of the steering wheel doesn't work. So I'm gonna make this video to how to change the actual steering wheel cluster, because we diagnosed these things by testing the buttons on the steering wheel. They actually work. The heating kind of clicks in and out, and we check fuses, this and that, a few more things, and it turns out that the only thing that's connected to the steering wheel going to the rest of the car to actually give power to these things is the steering wheel column cluster, or steering column switch cluster. So if you have these codes, actually just the one on the cluster and the heating pad, there was one for the heating pad, I think it disappeared But we had codes for the steering wheels, the steering column, switch cluster, and then the heating pads. The horn wasn't working. This, your most likely culprit for this is the steering column switch cluster that is actually located behind the clock spring, or the clock spring mounts into that cluster right here into this plastic house. And I'm gonna show you how to replace this. So this is the situation after replacing the steering column cluster or switch cluster. We have codes. We had some other codes for airbag, this and that. I erased everything, but the codes that we have now is the steering angle sensor, because remember, the one I installed came from a different car, so the car is gonna sense almost like this is not his angle sensor. So this has to be initialized, and we have encoding data, which means this new switch cluster has to be coded with the correct information on the car, or the correct options. So in order to code this, we need to go to encoding, and then we need to go to the cluster, steering column switch cluster. So we're into the coding, and adjustment, the adjustment of the steering angle sensor is here, but the coding is what we need. So the car, the information from the old one goes to the new one, and as you can see, yeah, some of the coding is different. So yeah, the old information needs to go to the new one. Now we need to download some files, and then I'm gonna transfer the information from the old unit to from the old cluster to the new cluster. Well, the actual scanner will do that automatically. Okay, it took a little while because the coding had to be downloaded, whatever, so the scanner did it automatically. And the last thing would be to adjust the steering angle sensor, because it has to be reset again. And after you finish this, everything should be okay and working. And again, I mean, I guess most people are not going to have the scanner at home, but at least you can do the main job and change the cluster here, or the steering column switch cluster, and then you can pay to someone to actually help you and code the new cluster to the car. And yeah, this is as much as I can do here to help you guys. Again, if you have any questions, post in the comments. I'll try to answer them as soon as I see them. And this was a 2009 BMW 528 steering column switch cluster replacement. Thanks again for watching, and please subscribe.